focusing quite a bit on the entire live production space, which includes, of course, 4K and IP, and we'll touch a little bit as well on digital media and some of the exciting things that we're doing with OTT and VOD and preparing content for alternate delivery methods and using techniques like digital ad insertion and things along those lines. And then, lastly, we'll be very excited to have up here Del Parks from the Sinclair Broadcast Group to provide an overview of an exciting solution we installed for them recently and have gotten up to speed. At the end of the program, we will have live Q&A. You all should have gotten a memory stick with our press kit on it, and I know that many of you already have appointments scheduled to come see us at the stand. If any of you do not have an appointment and you would like to come by and talk to some of our experts or see a demonstration, please see Emily Bowe or Keith Heavenor from our PR agency, Eric Maurer and Associates. They will be out at the registration table immediately following our event. Of course, you're welcome to stay after the event and have some food and drink. The bar will remain open for a little while. So without further ado, I'm pleased to introduce you to Roel Vestjens, who is the president of Belden's broadcast platform.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Can you hear me all right? I can hear myself. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so just a few slides to get started. I thought it would be helpful to talk a little bit about Belden. Again, it's only 4 or 5 slides. And to put our path that we started about 2 years ago and that we're very much on, the path to be even stronger within broadcast than we were and that we are today, put it into context. Before I get started, I realize that we are competing for your time, so I really appreciate that you guys made the time to be with us today, and we hope it'll be worth your while. So, let me see. Yeah, so what we often do when we talk about the company is we compare to where we were in 2005. I've been with the company 9 years, and in 2005, 2006, the company really started to change. Nothing wrong with Belden prior to 2005, but it was a different type of company than it is today. To put it short, we were playing in a very vast amount of industries and discovered that with globalization and with customers becoming more and more global and with standards becoming more and more global, customers were asking more for solutions than for components. I'm sure you've heard it all plenty of time before. And they were asking for to be served globally. So the journey that we started was to become more important and bigger players within certain industries and divest a lot of the industries where we said, well, this is not where we want to play in longer term. So we really started that journey in the industrial space. So in 2007, you see that we've acquired a few companies. I'm not going to walk you through the complete roadmap, but that's where we started testing our hypothesis of becoming from a cable supplier to a complete solution provider, and in this case, within the industrial space. Turned out to be a good strategy, chose winning companies, integrated them well, and were able to create value propositions that otherwise we would not have been able to create. In 2009, really started in the broadcast space with our telecast acquisition, and then first and foremost in 2012 with Miranda, and last year about this time with Grass Valley, making us the biggest provider in the broadcast equipment space today. I've shared with you a little bit why we think this is, why we chose this strategy, and the underlying thoughts, in addition to what I've described about customer behavior and customer expectation, is that we really strongly believe that we live in an interconnected world, and the connectivity requirements will only deepen and will only strengthen moving forward. So right now it is estimated that there's just as many devices, connected devices on this earth as there are people. That's the world that we live in, and that's the world that Belden is strong By 2020, it's estimated that there will be 7 times more connected devices than there will be people on this earth. Those type of numbers are interesting, but it's even more interesting what they mean and what that means to our society and the choices that we as suppliers have to make in order to enhance the lives of the customers that we serve. There will be a tremendous amount of growth, continued growth in data, audio, and video, which is the underlying thought for and the underlying reason for more and more devices being connected. We've proven to be good at taking customers through this transition. For example, from proprietary protocols to IP, as I'm sure Marco will talk a little bit about later on as well, but also in terms of enhancing and creating better solutions, better products for them in this interconnected world. This is roughly what the company looks like today. These are 2014, 12 trailing months numbers as of December. With the broadcast platform now being the biggest platform. It's the most important for Belden. We're here to stay. We've invested in total more than $1 billion. I did the math the other day in order to become the player that we are today. And at the forefront of all the businesses that we serve, in addition to broadcast, enterprise connectivity, and our 2 industrial platforms, are basically 3 of our core values: innovation, certainty, and trust. Belden is, in the industries that we play in, one of the key, if not the most trusted advisor and the biggest player in terms of applications that rely on mission-critical circumstances. And you can only do that, you will only become that player if you live these core values: innovation, certainty, and trust. The last slide that I'd like to share before I hand it over to Marco is just a little bit more touching on the point on how we became what we became. And the third reason why we've invested so much in this industry that we really learn to appreciate and we really love is that we believe scale matters. Scale matters. Innovation, you can only afford the amount of R&D funds that is required to stay cutting edge and to take our customers down this path that we currently are on, the path from proprietary protocols to IP and in a virtualized environment, if you have skills, if you have skill, right? If you are able as a company to be able to make those investments. And we're proud that, for example, last year, we invested $68 million, more than anybody within our industry that publishes numbers, right? In the industry. And that's only the R&D investment that's solely for broadcast. Obviously, we, as the broadcast platform, are part of a bigger family where we leverage R&D investments across the company as well. So in reality, it's even more than that. Hopefully that in this 3 to 5 minutes that put a little bit into context the path that we chose to be on, why we did it, what our beliefs are. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Marco Lopez, who's responsible for Grass Valley, which is approximately half of the total broadcast, Belden broadcast revenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so it has been a very, very successful year for us at the new Grass Valley. As probably many of you remember, we debuted here last year as the new Grass Valley was officially formed only 6 days prior to arriving at NAB. So it's been a great year for all of us. We've been enriching our relationships with customers and celebrating many big wins, all while making them future ready. And how do we do that? As Roel mentioned before, Belden's investment into the broadcast industry means stability to our customers. We have spent over $1 billion in the last 3 years alone, and Belden is confirming its long-term commitment as a strategic partner within this space. Now, our scale, through the combined product roadmap enables us to commit resources to R&D so that we can innovate. And it's through these innovative solutions that we can bring end-to-end products and solutions to our customers, making them future ready. And with nearly 400 highly trained professionals, the new Grass Valley delivers service and support at the point of impact on a global scale like no other vendor can. Now, in a quickly changing industry, Grass Valley is definitely committed to enabling our customers to competitively create and deliver more compelling content with higher quality. Now, whether that be through super slow motion, instant replay systems for the latest sporting event, or delivering all the content required for over-the-top so that you can view it at home on your iPad or PC. We will do so while ensuring that our solutions address the OpEx and CapEx challenges of studios, broadcasters, and network operators. So over the last year, we've continued to align our solutions roadmap to the needs of the market, making our customers better prepared to win. So now let's take a look at some of the key trends that we have been following that will then make up the great solutions that we have to offer here at the show. Okay, so there's 4 key trends that I'd like to speak to you about. Those are live production and automation, the adoption of 4K and UHD for better storytelling, the transition to IP allowing for enhanced formats like 4K, and the ever-changing consumer consumption model, which requires new monetization strategies. So those are the 4 key trends that we'll discuss today. So this is why compelling quality content is so important. Live productions such as the Super Bowl are the main source of revenue for many broadcasters today. The average cost of a 30-second spot during the Super Bowl was about $4.5 million. And why is that so? Because 116 million viewers were glued to their set watching the game live. And every year, we want to make that event even more important. We want to tell better stories year and year after. And Grass Valley is really there to help broadcasters to tell those better stories with our solutions like the combo of the LDX and Dino products that delivers the quality visuals with the ability to capture things that the human eye couldn't even detect, but then instantly replaying it for you in a few seconds. Now, while NBC Sports is not skimping out on the cost of production for the Super Bowl, they, like many other broadcasters, are grappling with how can we produce more live content at a reasonable cost. And this is true for the small sporting events, but it's also true for the daily local news. Now, the latest technology that we're leveraging to help customers deliver more compelling content and keep viewers more engaged is 4K. 4K content puts the viewers closer to the action, right? We've seen this, we've experienced it already. And it is expected that over 140 million homes will be watching Ultra HD by the year 2020. So later in today's program, we'll be sharing with you some of the very exciting news about our latest announcements in 4K production that will help broadcasters to harness all of the benefits that 4K brings. Now, I want to make sure that none of you forget that Grass Valley already today has the widest and deepest portfolio for 4K solutions. And our customers have been taking advantage of these solutions to create that 4K content during events like the World Cup Soccer and the Korean Games. And this year at NAB, our portfolio takes significant strides forward. So the key to our strategy and some of the announcements that I'll be making is really around getting much closer to the action with extreme slow-mo and as well 4K. They both deliver more exciting, more compelling television. Now, let's talk about some of the problems that we've heard when working with customers. The first one that they've told us about is that with existing cameras, 4K cameras that are offered by other vendors, there's really limited capacity when doing sports. These cameras have a very shallow depth of field and a limited zoom range because they were developed for cinema-type applications. Now, our recent introduction of the LDX 4K has transformed 4K capture. It offers the same depth of field and the same zoom range as HD cameras for better storytelling. Operators are exposed to the same workflow, delivering much higher quality images. And why is this so important? Because directors need to have the freedom to stay with the actions. They want to follow the players anywhere around the field and then zoom in on a moment's notice to where that action is actually taking place. But another key problem exists, and that is that producers have had to choose between cameras with higher resolution, 4K, and cameras with higher frame rate, like 6x for extreme slow motion. Essentially, having to choose one or the other. This has really restricted creativity, added costs, and held back the adoption of 6x and 4K. Now, the new LDX 86 Universe family that we're launching here at the show offers incredible camera flexibility along with unmatched real-world storytelling capabilities. The LDX 86 Universe, which is the new flagship of our LDX camera line, is fully switchable between 6x, 4K, and HD. And the best part is, the switch is done through a simple software license upgrade. This, for example, allows you to turn on 4K capability when a special event, like a special sporting event or a soccer match that has international viewage. And then after the event is over, a few days later, you can turn the camera back on by releasing that 4K license, and now the camera will work in its standard HD configuration, for example. So essentially, you have 3 cameras in the same package, giving you unprecedented flexibility, and our customers are really, really excited about this solution. And you have a release within your press kits already of the several customers that have adopted this new solution, and we're really excited to be working with them on it. All right, now let's turn to 4K replay. The problem here is that existing 4K servers only support a fraction of the channels they support in HD. So they typically require double the number of servers, double the rack space, and double the number of operators. This makes 4K production impractical. To address this problem, we're introducing the K2 Dyno Universe. This new instant replay system is optimized for 6x or 4K operation. And similar to the LDX camera, it offers customers the flexibility of switching between the two. It uses new solid-state storage alongside our existing K2 Summit servers for exceptional performance and resiliency. And la pièce de résistance, as I call it, is that we do this without doubling. So it's the same rack space, same number of servers, and more importantly, the same number of operators, really reducing the OpEx challenges. So now that I've looked at how we're helping broadcasters to tell those best stories, it's imperative that they have the mechanism for managing and delivering all this content. And IP is how we believe the industry is going to go. So you're probably wondering, well, what are the benefits of IP? And we tried to summarize this into 3 key benefits that we have discussed with over 200 customers worldwide. The first one is multiple video streams over one IP cable, one Ethernet cable. The second one is the ability to stream video over great distances for remote production applications. And last, IP is format agnostic. you can put SD, HD, 4K, compressed or uncompressed, all on that one IP or Ethernet connection. IP gives broadcasters the flexibility that SDI can never provide. And for Belden, this is the third time in its history that it's helped industry go through this IP migration, giving us the experience to safely navigate our customers whenever there might be those hurdles ahead. At this year's NAB, we're very excited to be introducing Grass Valley's glass-to-glass IP solution. We are the only vendor, again, the only vendor that can offer a complete IP solution from camera lens to monitor wall, hence glass-to-glass. Our video over IP strategy is the most comprehensive in the broadcast industry. So the scope of our solution spans cameras, replay and storage, production switchers, and signal processing, as well as playout and monitoring. It's based around the SMPTE 2022 industry standard for IP, and it incorporates both generic and off-the-shelf IP routing, as well as our own advanced IP routing system. And as you can see on the right-hand side of this diagram, our SDN-enabled control platform called GV Convergent offers a single control solution across this hybrid IP and SDI environment. Now let me show you how customers can migrate to a full IP solution. Our approach is really designed to help broadcasters transition at their pace to a hybrid IP and SDI infrastructure or move faster to a pure greenfield site. It combines generic IP routing for core processing and playout, and our own deterministic clean switch IP routing for live production. And with GV Convergent, we use software-defined networks, or SDNs, for unified familiar control for hybrid and pure IP facilities. So to summarize, the key pillars of our IP strategy, what really makes Grass Valley unique, are extensive end-to-end glass-to-glass IP portfolio, removing any of those interoperability issues that are going to happen over the next years while vendors are trying to connect products, or customers are trying to connect products from different vendors. We have the full gamut. And as well, this includes no dependencies on any OEM partners providing part of the solution. The second pillar is we have developed a completely new SDN-enabled control system, as I called it before, GV Convergent, that utilizes the same operator workflow. No need to retrain any of the operators, as SDI and IP sources are seen seamlessly to the end user. And lastly, working with commercially available off-the-shelf switches like Cisco and open standards, we keep broadcasters future ready by allowing them to take advantage of the huge improvements that will continue in Ethernet bandwidth. Today they can begin with 10 gig, but 40 gig and 100 gig are just around the corner. Other proprietary approaches do not deliver this flexibility. So you can actually see this strategy in action. You can go visit Grass Valley's or Cisco's booth, where we are showcasing this strategy for remote production applications. And this is really ideal because there are some clear examples where cost sensitivity for production is definitely important. These are things like high school and Division III college games. And you can see this now at the show floor. Come see us at our booth and we can show you how we're doing remote production along with a solution from Cisco and Grass Valley. Now, another challenge that broadcasters are grappling with is the need for more streamlined, scalable playout to launch channels faster, right? To quench that thirst of the ever-growing need for more content that we all have, as well as a path to 4K playout, video over IP, and virtualization. So let me tell you about that. So here at NAB, we're showing our new ITX integrated playout server. It's a game changer in terms of video quality and robustness, as well as its unparalleled ability to handle dynamic live operations, which in the past were only possible with dedicated master control switchers. Now, ITX is the most successful integrated playout solution on the market, with more than 1,800 channels, 1,800 channels playing out each and every day, 24/7, across 160 sites over the world. And on the booth, you will also be able to see some of the great technology demos that we have for ITX 4K, ITX IP, and ITX VM, or ITX in a virtualized environment. Now lastly, let's take a look at this final trend. As I said earlier, consumers' tastes and demands continue to grow more complex, requiring broadcasters to deliver branded content to more devices in more formats than they ever had before. And the stats tell a very real story where streaming video, secondary devices, streaming video to secondary devices, video on demand playback, and digital ad insertion are all continue to grow, have been growing and continue to grow at a tremendous pace. Now, Grass Valley, partnering with Envato, now has the most complete workflow solution for digital multi-platform media acquisition, production, editing, publishing, and streaming, while allowing broadcasters different models to monetize their content on these secondary devices. We help broadcasters to be first to publish, especially important in a news environment, to drive social media programs for better engagement, and to deliver personalized consumer experiences. The combination of GV Stratus, Ignite, and Envato is truly unique in how our event-driven automation delivers video with all of the necessary metadata and the standardized segmentation markers, removing the need for manual processes, allowing broadcasters to publish up to 5 to 10 times faster while reducing OpEx. And as we all know, ad revenue is the fuel of the broadcast industry. Localized ad insertion has been talked about for some time, but in the past it required an extensive capital investment, which when you really looked at the math, it outweighed any of the ROI benefits. With GV Stratus Playout, we offer the functionality of a large playout server, but on a small modular card, making it easy to deploy in any region. And in addition, what makes it very special is the cloud-enabled centralized control and management. This allows a broadcaster to have one operations center controlling hundreds of cards that can be deployed anywhere around the world. Now, localized ad insertion in even the smallest markets is made possible and is profitable. Now, I'd like to introduce Del Parks. Del has worked with his team on a solution exactly that meets these types of requirements. Del is from the Sinclair Broadcast Group, as Dave mentioned earlier, and has successfully deployed such a system. So Del, have you up here.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know a lot of you, I guess. No problem. Yeah, this was a very interesting process. Let me advance the slides here. They asked me to. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that's who we were. You know, and they asked me about Sinclair, and it was funny because I went to Lucy Russo, who's our investor relations lady, and pulled a couple slides, and it was really interesting because last time I did this was about 4 or 5 years ago, and I really hadn't realized how much we've grown. But you can see the map. That's who we are, and it struck me that when Felton was talking about consolidation in the industry. We know, Sinclair, we know something about consolidation, we know something about M&A, and we also know something about buying companies and making investments in them. And we were really impressed with Belden's commitment to first Miranda and then Grass Valley. And I hope it doesn't go unnoticed that when he said they've invested, was it $65 million? Or $65 million? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of Andrew Jacksons. And that demonstrates commitment. My mom always told me, put your money where your mouth is. And Sinclair certainly does as we buy these companies. And it's obvious that Belden is also. It demonstrates commitment. And that's important for us as a purchaser of technology. So again, this is who we are. Most of you know who we are. It's our content mix, syndicated, paid programming, local sports. Local sports we'll talk about in a second. So part of what our success has to be at Sinclair, and it's important to this relationship, is we're a content company. We need to be a content company. The old model where we would buy syndicated programming and we would take whatever the networks gave us and pass it through, and the world's become a lot more complicated now. So we realized a while back that we have to start being in the content business. So, if you look over in the upper right, American Sports Network, Ring of Honor, which is our version of WWE, and Friday Night Lights. In many of our markets, we are producing high school football games and high school sports, and it's a very, very important part of our strategy. American Sports Network, we spun that up this past September, and we have 10 conferences. Is that bound? Can you take the level down a little bit? Yeah, American Sports Conference. We got about 10 conferences, a lot of colleges, and we go produce college sports and then air it on our television stations. And in many cases, we air it on the D2, which is a sub-channel, or D2 or D3 channels. So, going back to our relationship with both Miranda and Grass Valley, because we had pretty deep relationships with both companies. And when Belden bought them, it was actually pretty fortuitous for us. It was a good thing. So we have long relationships with both companies, and we're really excited about it. And before I go any further, I have to tell you that I have two colleagues in the back, Don Roberts and Dan Carpenter, who Don Roberts handles the ITX piece of our business. And Dan Carpenter, I think, worked for 3 or 4 months to get this Stratus card project on track for Sinclair, because it needed some tweaks, frankly, and luckily, Grass Valley worked with us, and we made those tweaks, and we started deploying the cards. So why did we do that? Marco alluded to it. It's a thorny problem for us. It's a chicken and egg problem. And so you have a sub-channel, and there's no revenue on the sub-channel. So the sub-channels are not valued. So what do you have to do to get revenue on the sub-channels? You have to sell spots. But if you can't play spots, you can't sell spots. So the TV industry, the primary channel is this big, and the sub-channel money is this big. So there's a scale involved, and you can't spend this much money for this much revenue. I mean, that's kind of the basic law of economics we all understand. So how do you solve that problem? I think it was Dan Carpenter, was it last year or whatever, said, hey, Grass Valley's got this Stratus card. It looks like it may have some possibilities. So Dan pursued it, and I think, I don't know, a couple of months ago, we bought some Stratus cards and put them in our stations, and the result is that it does what it says it's going to do, and it takes a play out channel, and we can insert that into a D2 or a D3 channel and play out these sports programs, or frankly play any commercials in any sub channel. And that's really important because you gotta understand it breaks. It then can bring value to the sub channels. Right now, sub channels, I'm sure you all know, it's Get TV, This TV, Grit TV. Here's an Icons. It's Me TV. It's any kind of TV you want to think it is. It's all over the place. But they primarily run direct response. Build better ads. Cut Ginsu knives. We need to break that. We need to break into real revenue, and this playout card will allow us to do that on the local level. So it's really important to us. And frankly, the idea of this is software as a service, so the automation exists in the cloud. So it was kind of a little bit of a leap for us to do that, and we're ready to make that leap. We really are. And then the other, I think the other important thing is that we can control these cards. So today, we have this very small application, but what we want to do with this tomorrow is grow this concept, and it allows us to do that. Not every Sinclair television station has the same server system. I mean, we have the Tower of Babel servers. We have servers from every manufacturer, every year, every make, every model, every software revision, you name it, we have it. What this does is allow us in one rack, in a density rack, to put in a playout channel that actually isn't hooked to our master control system. So it's pretty important for us. And I got to tell you, Dan has worked really hard and has come up with our solution, which primarily is this. I know it's a bit of an eye chart, but I think all you really need to know is that there are Grass Valley cards that populate a density frame and control router and can actually play out commercials and switch back and forth between programs, and we can send Scuddy toes down the line, and it's a pretty nifty little device. It is cost effective. It is pretty easy to operate, and we're real excited about it. And as we build out our sports network, we will roll out more of these systems. So that really is, David, if you want to come back up, or Marco, that's really kind of the story. And we've adopted, we've adopted ITX as playout. But that's, we're really excited about this stuff because this is engineering that we can get our hands on, and Dan and Don can affect its outcome. We've been watching ITX since Ian first rolled in about 6 years ago. What was it, about 6 years ago, Don, at Baltimore, and he had the two servers, and whenever he put the graphic up, the servers would whine. The fans in the servers would whine. But it really is a solid product, and we're really excited about our ITX rollouts. We have six of them rolled out now, and more to come.
All right, thank you, Del.
Okay.
All right. So that is